Hello, my name is Stacy Hayes, and this presentation covers the open access programs Duke University has initiated on their campus, the benefits they provide to the public, and how they improve scholarly communication. The history of open access at Duke began in the law school. In 1998, they were the first law school in the United States to make their journals freely accessible online. They then took their open access commitment further by creating a freely accessible online archive for faculty publications. That repository is now called the Duke Law Scholarship Repository, and it shares a partnership with the Digital Commons that provides advanced functionality. The repository now carries many types of information, including journal articles, student works, lectures, and many more. In addition, Duke has attempted to promote open access at other law schools. In 2005, the Duke Law Library director met with several other directors and created and signed the Durham Statement on Open Access to Legal Scholarship. That statement called for law schools to publish all journals electronically in a free, stable format. In this video from 2009, Richard Danner, Duke Law's Senior Associate Dean for Information Services, explains some benefits of open access and why he believes institutions should play a role in making scholarly communication freely available.
So at Duke we began a number of years ago to begin publishing our student-edited journals in electronic form on our website, making them available in PDF and in HTML. HTML as a way to better, as we always talk about it, expose our faculty scholarship to wider audiences than will typically see it if it's just published in the print law reviews or even electronically in a law review. We want other people to be able to read what our faculty has done. Open access is something which tries to provide information, no matter what type it is, to a wider audience, making it freely available on the web, on the internet, electronically. It takes it outside of the usual sources where scholars are talking to their immediate peers about things and makes it available to people who otherwise wouldn't be part of that conversation or the discourse within that discipline. So open access means that people who will benefit from having scholarly information on law or on any other subject but don't have access to libraries, to databases, to print forms of that scholarship, if it's made freely available on the internet, those people will have access to that information, to the knowledge that's been created, and also will be more easily able to participate in conversation about developing that knowledge further. One of the most important parts of that is that open access and electronic publication makes these materials available not only in the U.S., not only in Western Europe, not only in what we think about as being the developed world or the North, but also in the South, in Africa, in other places where the resources at universities are not as great as they are in other parts of the world. For a long time, been a large open access movement in law to make primary sources available on the web, not only in the U.S., but in many other countries of the world. But those efforts, which have accomplished a great deal in breaking down barriers to the law for people who need to use it, but again don't have access to all of to libraries and to other expensive tools. The organizations that have done a lot to improve open access to primary source legal information have not yet been able to make as much headway with secondary source materials, with scholarship, with journal articles and things like this, which is where we've stepped in, and the idea there, I think, is that those sorts of materials are more likely to be made available, better made available perhaps by the institutions which produce them rather than by aggregators such as the groups which gather together the primary source materials and make those things available. Both are needed, both are important, and it's an appropriate thing for a law school to do, to try to make its own scholarship available on a worldwide basis. What we hope to do with the repository as we expand its power and its breadth is to include not only things that are written by faculty, but also student papers. We have any number of students at Duke who not only write for journals, but are involved in scholarship in other ways and present their papers to groups within the school and will benefit from having an avenue for publishing those as well. So we will make that kind of thing available in the repository as well, along with video and other materials that will essentially show the level of intellectual activity that takes place at Duke on a ongoing daily basis, but also makes these things more readily available than they would be otherwise.
In 2010, the rest of Duke University adopted an open access policy. The Academic Council unanimously passed a resolution requiring Duke University libraries to create an institutional repository. The policy also gives Duke a license to make final drafts of faculty manuscripts freely available through the repository. Although participation is the default, members of the scholarly community can request their research not be made freely available to the public, or that an embargo be placed on it for a specified period of time. Also, anyone who puts their publications into the repository retains their copyright. The repository was created and is now called DukeSpace. Duke has also established additional open access programs that support scholarly communication. Through one program, Duke University Libraries provides technical support and the Open Journal Systems publishing platform to anyone who would like to create a peer-reviewed open access journal. They also provide these services to existing journals that would like to transition to an open access model. The library staff helps editors utilize the platform and manage the online publication process to maximize the journal's success. Additionally, Duke Libraries support scholars through their Office of Copyright and Scholarly Communications. The staff of this office promotes open access initiatives on campus and provides information about copyright and publishing to scholars. Another program requires all student theses and dissertations be given a Creative Commons license and put into DukeSpace. Students receive similar protections as faculty, including retention of their copyright and the ability to place an embargo on their scholarly products, especially if making it immediately available would compromise further scholarly endeavors of theirs or others. Duke University also created additional programs to ensure that the adoption of open access was successful in their institution. In 2010, Duke joined COPE, the Compact for Open Access Publishing Equity, which states that since open access is saving universities money by reducing the number of journal subscriptions they have to buy, they should provide faculty with funds to underwrite their publishing fees to open access journals. The COPE Fund at Duke was created to remove these financial burdens for publishing authors making their works freely available online. The benefits of Duke's open access programs are plentiful, and they would apply to any institution that introduced a repository and open access programs. First, if journals are published online, then the number of subscriptions libraries will have to purchase will decline. In addition, this will open up much needed space for other publications or study and instruction facilities in libraries. Second, repositories will aid in the preservation of scholarly communication. With all of an institution's scholarly works centralized and in standardized formats, universities and colleges can easily determine when and how adjustments should be made in response to changing technology, and the institution can ensure that all works remain accessible going forward. This benefits both Duke and those creating the scholarly works. Third, institutions usually invest substantial time and money when copying or mailing materials so that they can share scholarship with each other and the public. Alternatively, open access publications like those at Duke make these materials immediately available to anyone with interest and the internet. The changes resulting from Duke University's adoption of open access programs also greatly benefits the members of their academic community who are creating scholarly works. First, online publication is quicker than print, so the discoveries from research reaches audiences faster. Fast publication can aid a scholar in establishing their work before another party has a chance to, especially if research within their discipline is competitive. Journals also benefit from the streamlined process that open access platforms facilitate, helping editors to manage the publication process more efficiently. Second, open access publishing reaches a larger audience over a greater geographic area. This is especially helpful for dissertations or theses that might not otherwise be disseminated. Anyone utilizing the author's work will need to give them credit because proof that it exists will be easy to find. Also, researchers are increasingly utilizing online resources, so online publications usually result in higher download and citation counts. As Mohammed Noor, a professor of biology at Duke, noted, these statistics can help a faculty member to achieve promotion and tenure. Third, any type of scholarly work can be published through an open access repository. DukeSpace even includes lectures and student products that might not otherwise be published. No matter what type of scholarship or media it is, creators have an opportunity to publish their work and disseminate it to a large audience. In addition, open access journals will also have the ability to publish content they could not publish in print, such as videos. Fourth, open access journals can eliminate printing and mailing costs and can minimize others through the streamlined publication process. This is especially important for small journals that are struggling with financial issues during these tough times in our economy. Last, open access makes scholarly information available to people who do not have access to a library, print publications, or expensive commercial databases. As internet connectivity becomes more globally available, so will scholarly communication. The extra exposure helps authors because it can boost their academic reputation, especially if they are students or postdoctorals who are young and just beginning to publish research in their field. This also benefits journals by building their international profile and credibility. Other institutions can learn from the process that Duke has used to adopt open access publication. One topic for consideration is that it is beneficial when open access is adopted uniformly by the entire institution. However, at Duke, the law library and university libraries are different entities, so their open access initiatives occurred as separate efforts. It appears that the libraries share information with each other, but additional collaboration could save time and money. Therefore, it would be interesting to evaluate the differences between the university's two repositories and to determine if there are further ways the two entities can cooperate. Now let's look at the way other institutions might want to follow in the footsteps of Duke. In order to ensure participation by scholars, Duke adopted policies requiring that faculty and students provide an electronic version of their scholarly products for inclusion in the repository. This ensured that DukeSpace would be adequately populated with scholarly works. Also, once the policy was in place, the Duke University libraries created several different programs to support open access. These included actions like creating a repository and providing open journal systems as a publication platform for Duke's open access journals. It is essential for institutions to understand that simply creating a repository will not always be enough, and that a variety of programs are necessary to promote scholarly research. In conclusion, Duke University's open access programs provide a wide variety of support for scholarly communication, and other institutions considering open access initiatives could learn a great deal from them. Their open access website, provided here, is a great place to start. I have included here the plethora of sources that I utilized in creating this presentation. They can be used as options for further reading on the topic of Duke University's open access programs. Thank you.